Greetings. Welcome to the Pistol Packing Patriot. And it is Wonky Wednesday. And I had something in mind, but that is not going to happen. Wonky Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thespian Thursday. But welcome. Today, usually it's Mariah and I either tonight or Thursday night, but she can't do it this week, so we're going to push it out. We're going to do it every other week. So just to let you know, that's the plan. Then, but what I'm going to talk about today, and I should have got some water, but I'll do something in a minute, is I want to dig a little deeper into the Lucis Trust. Let me start this up here, just so we can have some background stuff. I don't even know if you can hear it, but I can hear it, and it helps me keep focused. Anyways, we had, Mariah and I had talked about the Lucis Trust in the first show that we did, but I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper because I was given a list of some churches, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of information. Let's go back though, and let me set up a share screen so you can see what I'm looking at. Lucis Trust. Okay, so here's the Lucis Trust. Now, Alice Bailey is the woman that says that her visitation, whatever it is that she had for getting the divine revelation of whatever it is that she's promoting here, the great invocation is what I'm understanding. But I just think it's so interesting how she comes to the conclusion, and New Age people come to the conclusion that it's not okay for Christians to be wanting or hearing from God, but it's okay for them to hear from the all whatever. Just cracks me up. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. It's hair that's going, hey, and it's usually one of my cats, because he's got, oh my gosh, that fine down wool fur almost. It's kind of weird. Let's get in here though. I want to be okay. Anyways, so let's take a look at this screen here with the Lucis Trust, and let's just kind of breeze through it a little bit. Just take a look. They've got their coronavirus stuff listed. Okay, full moon meditation, which automatically makes me think witches, coven, Satanists, because they probably run on the same calendar. Lucious Publishing Companies. Originally, Lucious Publishing Companies was Lucifer Publishing, just to let you know. And there's a lot of triangles, which we know are the Illuminati, and they're seen in a lot of other things. And it's interesting that they use the electric bridge here. This is like, I know this is the electric, they've used the ball, glass ball or whatever, but they're imitating divine conception. So basically, when a sperm enters the egg, it has the same effect and look around the egg as this globe represents. So I find that very interesting that they're trying to use the spark of divinity, and they're trying to steal that. I find that very interesting. Also, when they talk of lower kingdoms of nature through the human and on the enlightened lives, these are things that everything is, pretty much everything you should be able to find and back it up with scripture as in being legitimate. And when it starts talking about stuff like this, you're getting into the occult side of things, because you can look at what's going on in the good side of things and what's going on in the bad side of things, and then you compare the words, and then you compare the fruit, and then that's what you get. So, okay, so anyways, this Lucis Trust thing, World Goodwill at the United Nations, highlighting the progress of goodwill action at the world body with regular blog and Facebook updates. The group of world servers. Now, I always take it into consideration when they use words and they're specific about words, because when I see world servers, I think not only are we the servers, the slaves, but also the computers are the servers and the slaves. Okay? So they're not only wanting to enslave us, but they want to create the AI in order to enslave the AI as well. You know, it's pretty much not rocket science on this stuff. But they want the AI to take basically over us so that they can, yeah. But my concern is here, world goodwill at the United Nations. This is the area of influence that I believe is at the core of what's really going on in the churches too. 75 years on, the United Nations looks forward. Let's take a look at that. Two recent articles, reports caught our attention because of the fresh vision. When they talk about things like fresh vision or visionary or things like that, that is all occult. Anything that's representative of light that is not biblical is occult. And you know, you could say, well, she's going to sit there and say, well, everything is of the occult. Well, there's a lot of things that are of the occult versus New Age. There are a lot of things that are, related in the occult that is also cross-referenced and relating into the AI, like channeling demons. So, where do you fit that in? And you look at the new Gaga video with the Goo Goo. I call her Goo Goo, Lady Goo Goo, because of that black liquid goo that's coming out of the. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. But anyways, my concern is churches and the Lucis Trust, aka Lucifer Trust. Secretary General's report, our common agenda. That's another thing, agenda. Anytime you see an agenda, that means somebody has an agenda against something that is going to take some kind of freedom away from us, more than likely. Presents a vision. Okay, whose vision? What vision? What are we talking about? Are we talking about a vision from God, or are we talking about a vision from the occult? Come on, people. 2 and 2 equals 4. And practical steps for the future of global cooperation. That means everybody does what they say, or else. Yeah, not going to happen. They can all fuck off. When the world leaders endorsed the United Nations 75th Anniversary Declaration, they requested Secretary General Antonio Guterres to produce a report to the General Assembly with recommendations to advance our common agenda and to respond to current and future challenges. Current and future challenges, that's us. Okay? Released on September 10th, the report calls for a new focus on the values of trust, and solidarity in one another, and the very values we need. See, this is all communism right here. Socialism or communism. All of this bullshit right here. The values of trust and solidarity in one another. Yeah, they can fuck off too. The very values we need to rebuild our world and secure a better, more sustainable. Okay, here's another one that takes you right into the AI and the community focus on how they want to use AI to take over our communities and rule us through AI, just like on Mockingbird, To Kill a the new movie, not the old movie, where they have the drones and things like that. That's what they want to do. And they're basing it on trying to take care of our packaging, our needs for packages and deliveries. And they're blaming this, they're using us to usher in their agenda for the AI control because of our wants and needs and calling Amazon and having everything shipped to our house instead of going out and buying it. See, now they've shoved us inside and made us go online and buy stuff. And now they're going to take that over and say that, well, you're using it too much. So now we're going to come in with our AI and we're going to be in control of what you're getting for your packages. And we're going to know who's doing it, where it's coming from, and what's going on. And if you guys don't figure this freaking shit out now, by now, that all this is all been set up to use against us from the very beginning of 2015, that this is ushered in because of who got in office. They've ushered in all this bullshit because they knew that someone was there that was coming to call accounts. So now everything's getting thrown at us. But if we don't see it for what it is and start, hi Sal, how's it going? If we don't see it for what it is and start calling it out and stopping it in its tracks on our local level, because this is some serious shit. I mean, I've really been finding out some weird shit, y'all, with this, how they're trying to bring in the AI to take care of the processing of the shipping and receiving. They want to take control of everything that we do. They want to know who's getting what, where, when, why, and they don't see, and that's another thing. The government wants control over knowing what you're buying, knowing what you want. And I know that everybody knows that, and they're pretty much, okay, well, they've got my information anyways. But there are still ways to, work around things. So it's an issue. It's an issue. So let's go on and look at some more stuff. Yeah, let's finish this little bit right here. In the values of trust and solidarity in one another, the very values we need to rebuild our world. That means rebuild their world to accommodate them for their agenda. Why do we need to rebuild the world that we've already built? Okay, so there's agenda. There's an agenda behind each sentence in this little paragraph right here. And secure a better and more sustainable future for them, for our people and our planet. They always talk about our, but it's always them against us, okay? And people always say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. No, it's not. If you took this website and that website and that website and that website, and see that they're all generally leaning to the same concept, even though you have thousands, if not millions, of people that follow each separate group. Okay? There's some shit going on, and they're not telling anybody, and they're sneaking shit in, and they're not being accountable. They're not being transparent, which is the key word right there, transparency. It's huge. So they want to secure a better, more sustainable future for their people and their planet, which they want to, pretty much take us out. It proposes a summit for the future. They're always talking about the future instead of trying to realize that we're here right now in the present, talking and wanting help. And we're not talking about the future. We're talking about the now. And they're always wanting to talk about the future. So that's another key thing right there. They're always wanting to talk about the future instead of the now. And they're always blaming us for the now instead of them, when it's really them that have caused all of this that's happened to us. To take place during the opening of the next session of the General Assembly of September 2022. So this is very current information, okay? Read a summary and download the full report at the United Nations. Oh, let's and read this commentary from past blue. Let's go right in there and look at that. See if it's going to load. Thanks so much, Sal. I sure appreciate that. Okay, United Nations Common Agenda. Okay, here we are, back to the agenda. Remember I said it's always an agenda, and it's always like a universal unity. They include everything, everyone, but they want us all dead. Okay, and what's another interesting thing here is they always show this map here. You can see my little hand guy waving. Hey, over here, over here. See the map they're using? That's a flat Earth map. Okay, so let's move on down here. I don't want to read the report. This guy, I can't remember who this guy is. I just saw his name. Okay, let's go ahead and read a little bit of this. We are at an inflection point in history. Yeah, that means that you're getting ready to be crushed into the ground. Has served as a wake-up call with the climate crisis. Yeah. See, this is the other thing. They've used this to incur this so that they can do this and take over this. Okay, so I just find it very interesting how they word. Words matter, people. Words matter. If you all started thinking about everything that is broken down into these sentences just in each paragraph, you will see that they are using words against us. They're almost like making spells with words and using them to either confuse us or distract us or lead us off into the wrong direction. It's very interesting. I won't say some words because a lot of words get me bumped off of some sites, and I'd rather get out as much information as I can without being kicked to the curb. Humanity faces a stark and urgent choice, breakdown or breakthrough. See, here we are again. They're talking about breakdown. They're blaming us because of everything that's going on right now, when in fact it isn't anything that we did. They've created all of this chaos, mayhem upon us. And now because it's coming to an end and they're coming to an end, the head of their agenda is thrashing around and just throwing out everything. So we're getting everything, every pie in the eye, so to speak, across the board. The choices we make or fail to make today could result in further breakdown in future, and a future of perpetual crisis or a breakthrough to a better, more sustainable, here we are again, to a better, more sustainable, peaceful future for our people and our planet. That's bullshit. This is the stuff that they want to create the AI to control us so that they can control the future of the people and the planet. Wake up, people. Our common United Nations, our common agenda is the agenda of action. That means violence. Okay? When they talk about an agenda of action, that means violence, designed to strengthen and accelerate multilateral agreements. That means do what we want, or we're not going to work with you or give you stuff. Particularly the 2030 agenda. See, here we are back at another agenda, and a lot of these that we're going to cover, that Mariah and I are going to cover, all stem back to, or all lead to, the 2030 agenda. All of them. And I would say that I still have my thoughts about the Antarctica treaty, because if they had the 2030 agenda set up, and then they also know about the 2050 Antarctica agreement, where everything is, open grab, open free. What that means is they would have total control over everything by 2030, so that when 2050 hits, they can take over Antarctica. So there's a lot more at stake here, people, than people realize. I mean, there's just so much more all across the board that is just, it's, we need to screech on the brakes. And make a tangible difference in people's lives. Tangible difference in people's lives, what they mean is more control, more security, more... there's a movie out, and I think I watched it online, but it talks about basically, like, I don't know, 5 years from now or something like that. And it's all locked down still, and some people are immune and just some other things. But it's very interesting because all of these things roll right into that movie. It just, after you watch the movie, you sit there and go, wow, it really makes sense now. Our common agenda contains recommendations across 4 broad areas. For renewed solidarity between peoples and future generations. They really want our kids. They really want our kids. They want to enslave our kids. All of our kids, the world's kids. Under a new social contract anchored in human rights. Basically, that would be unhuman rights, because the United Nations, everything that it is for, just put "un" before it, and that's what you'll get. Let's see. So, a new social contract anchored in human rights, unhuman rights, better management, better unmanagement of critical global commons, uncritical global commons, and global public goods that deliver. See, here we are back to the global public goods that deliver equity and sustainability for all. Okay, here we are right back to, if they sustain us, and if they keep pushing us into our homes and don't let us out, and they turn off the water and the electricity, what are you guys going to do? What are you guys going to do? What are you guys going to do? They're going to have you locked in your house. No water, no food, no access to anything. What are you going to do? That's where they want us. That's where they want us. In cages, basically. Our common agenda presents the Secretary General's vision on the future of global cooperation through an inclusive networked, there we are again, networked, and effective multilateralism. That's another word that they're using for the AI, is the multilateralism. I've got to look. Let's go look that up right now. And a lot of people may not know how to research, and I'm basically showing you how right now. I'm going to look this up on the side, and then I'll just read it. Let's see. It says, and I just wonder which one I should look at. Let's look at Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is on their agenda. So let's see what Wikipedia says. In international relations, multilateralism refers to an alliance of multiple countries pursuing a common goal. Bingo! Right there. Common goal. What is that goal? Let's see, multilateralism is the form of a membership in international institutions, serves to bind powerful nations. Bind. That's a very powerful word. Bind. Do you know that as humans, under the Bible and under what Jesus came here to do on this planet, that we have the power to bind things? And that the enemy is using things? They're using words and they're using powers that were meant for us to bind us. And that the church is being taught basically how to cast spells against us, how to talk shit against us that come against us and call them out for accountability and transparency. This is some serious shit, people. I'm not kidding you. Serves to bind powerful nations, discourage unilateralism. Okay, so that says, is any doctrine or agenda that supports one-sided action. Okay, so that means if I have a different opinion than this, then I'm the enemy of this. Okay, so understand that this is meant to entrap us. Okay, and they're putting words on these things to entrap us because we have an opinion that's different than theirs. It says it right there. Okay, I think I'm on that one, aren't I? No, let me scoot over to this one. Let me stop sharing that one. Let me move over to this one and I'll show you what I mean. Multilateralism. Okay. So, multilateral. Hi, GA. Welcome. That's why I prep and why I teach other people to prep. Yeah, my roommate, thank God she's a heavy-duty prepper. There's stuff I can do, but there's just a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so let's look at this again here, because I was reading, I thought you guys could see it. Multilateralism. Multilateralism is the form of membership in international institutions, serves to bind powerful nations, discourage unilateralism, which I just read. Unilateralism is any doctrine or agenda. That means the MAGA agenda, any of that would be against this, that supports one-sided action. Such action may be in disregard for other parties or as an expression of a commitment toward a direction which other parties may find disagreeable. So think about it and really, really look at the words. And if you don't know them, look them up, because it's seriously important and serious enough that they're using it all against us. And it says here, and give small powers a voice and influence that they could not otherwise exercise. Okay? Otherwise exercised through force, which is what I was talking about before. Let me look at that. For on the United Nations, where it said, our common agenda presents the Secretary General's vision on the future of global cooperation through an inclusive, networked, and effective multilateralism. Okay, so they want to take us over. For a small power, which means a minority to be taken over the majority, which is them against us, to influence great power, which is us. The lily. Oh my God. I think my roommate just said something to me about us being part of the Lilliput. I'll have to talk to her about we've got so much stuff we talk about, it's kind of insane. Strategy of small countries banding together to collectively bind. See, there it is again. Bind a larger one can be effective. Basically, through fear. They're trying to bind us through fear. And you know what they're using for that. Similarly, multilateralism may allow one great power to influence another great power. Say CCP to USA. For a great power to seek control through bilateral ties could be costly. Yeah, I don't know if I want to go on reading this. If you guys want to read it, you can read it. But going back, let's see. Let's go back to. Let's go back to the common agenda page. Okay. So the United Nations key proposals across the 12 commitments from the Declaration on the commemoration of the 75th anniversary. Okay, this is something that they've made a declaration probably to the world. I haven't read it yet. Don't really care because anything that they're going to be doing, I'm going to be against. They're also in every national park in America, just to let you know. And it's no wonder that we have people missing in every national park in America. Wonder why. Yeah. So, hi Shotgun. How you doing, Miss Rita? Nice to see you. So key proposals across the 12 commitments. This stuff is crazy. And they always try to place women and girls at the center. Yeah, they want to place us at the center because they want to traffic us. This stuff, I mean, it's like, wake up, people. This is like the stupidest Monopoly game I've ever seen in my life. It's like Monopoly for tards. Leave no one behind. Leave everyone behind. Promote peace and prevent conflicts. Promote chaos and prevent peace. Place women and girls at the center because they're the ones that we traffic. Protect our planet, kill our planet with pesticides and chemicals and pollute our waters and yeah. Abide by international law, break every law and make everybody else pay, and ensure justice and enslave everyone. Build trust and ensure distrust and fear. Build fear and mistrust. Yeah, this is like, I could write a whole thing on the United Nations on the 12 reasons why we need to be against their agenda. Improve digital cooperation. That's because they want it to control us. They want to prove that more than anything else so that they can make AI to replace us. Assure sustainable financing for them. Basically, we're their serfs and their slaves. Listen to and work with youth because they're going to use them as the other portion of trafficking, because that's the new slave market. Upgrade the United Nations. Always upgrade the United Nations to better the United Nations instead of the people. Boost partnerships. We always want to make sure that we slip money into our partnerships' pockets so that they know that as long as we keep money in their pockets, they'll keep on with their slave and fear tactics to keep us enslaved. And be prepared. That means that be prepared for us to rise up and take them over. So always remember that's their biggest fear, even though it's the last on their list. Remember, it's their number one fear. They're telling them to be prepared because we could rise up, and we could go into the, and it's funny here that I've said all these things and I'm sorry, I'm not paying attention as much as I should to the chat, but I'm kind of on fire for this because I bet you that if I go into each one and look at, because I can't see this with a shit and it's on a big screen for me and I'm blind as shit, okay? So I bet you though, if I go in and I read each section on this, that it would say exactly, it would explain exactly what I said. If you put before that, their agenda is everything but what they say it is. It's everything but what they say it is. And I think I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna save this one and come back to this one. Because I'm gonna pick the shit out of that one. That just pissed me off. And I hadn't seen this one before. I knew what I wanted to talk about, but some of this stuff I just wanted to go in and see where it was going to take us. Because basically I have a list here of churches that I've been given that are in profit, to make profit, to ride the coattails of God right to the bank, basically. And I'm going to be part of that crew that stops that bullshit. Okay, so they create all these things in all these countries by the things that they do and by the mandates and by the other things and the laws that some of them do create in other countries and things like that keep people having to rely on the government for everything. But what everybody forgets is if we abolish the government, which we can, and we all need to in every country, we need to abolish the governments and start anew. And that means tear them all down, all the way to the ground, and start making the people first, getting everybody fed, getting everybody clothed, getting everybody taken care of, and then start working together to bring about the change and not let them be the ones that make the change for us. We need to make the change by abolishing all of them and removing all of them. I basically found out that the entire Congress, well, not the entire, but most of the Congress and the Senate and almost everybody that's in lead positions in our government are all on the bloodlines of the elite or the well, I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. Okay, so, all right, so let's go back. See what we're back on here. What time are we on here? 39. Okay. So, are we on the Lucious again? Yeah. Okay. So, back here. So let's go back to Lucius. World Goodwill. And I'll show you a couple of things. Here we go. The global network. Let's look at the global network. They are really going after our Second Amendment in the Rittenhouse trial. Yeah, Miss Rita, but that it won't happen because what's going to happen as soon as they do that, that's when we all go to the streets. I bet that'll probably be the last thing that will take us all to the street. Okay, the worldwide network of servers. I am so thirsty. Let's see. Okay, I want to see. Let's look at the Americas first. Yeah, I agree, GA. I agree. They talk. They do a lot of talking. But there's not much that we aren't on top of and watching, like hardcore. Okay, so I want you guys to see this list here, and this is the Americas. And if it's listed here, then they have a group there. Okay, so that's a lot. And let's go into, let's say, mine, and it'll kind of give you a general idea. But these are things that I'm looking at that I find interesting because I want to research them a little bit deeper and find out who's in cohorts with these people. Say, like some of these places in California, with words that are very Arab or Islamic, things like that just bring attention or a red flag that I want to investigate. Then we have things like this Spirit Fire Denver and the Denver Goodwill Service Group. Okay, Fairfield County Executive Directors World Goodwill Group. These, I don't think people result Goodwill. Well, you have to realize that Goodwill is a trademark name. And if somebody's using the Goodwill trademark, then they're involved. Period. So, Goodwill, if you're buying stuff from Goodwill, you're supporting this Luciferian bullshit. Okay, so yeah, I found a lot of stuff. And here, they're into the full moon meditations and crap like that. So, and the Middle East. And the Middle East is hardcore too. Right in Israel, Center for Universal Spirituality. Asia and Pacific. Let's see, do we have anybody? No, not over there. Okay, so let's go back. Let's look at resources. So that was just kind of something I wanted to show you about the Goodwill. I'm trying to find. See, it always comes back to their thing that they're wanting to push for this Lucis Trust, which is connected to the Nasara Jasara. Okay. So the Great Invocation. So let's look at that, and let me show you and basically it's a spell. Are you loading? There you go. They say it's a world prayer. It invokes. Okay, here it is again. Words. Words mean so much, everybody. Invokes. Those are things that are used in the occult. I mean, those are words that are used to talk about bringing forth a spell or bringing forth something to make something happen. And see, it says invokes divine energies of light and love and spiritual power. Okay, that's not scriptural. That's demonic. If they're talking divine energies without being scriptural and contextual to the Bible, they're talking demonic presence, demonic entities. This is all demonic and occultic crap. It's not all love, light, and spiritual power. It's teaching you how to communicate with demons and get help from demons. And if, hey, that's your bag, then go for it. But you know what? You ain't going to be the winners. See, its use and significance. The Great Invocation. Here it is again. The beauty and strength of this invocation lie in its simplicity, the simplicity of its script, and in its expression of certain central truths in the script, which all people anybody that speaks it, innately and normally. That means innately, like if they're like monotone, just speaking it to la 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 la, they're still professing it with their lips. And normally, which would be, knowing what you're saying, except adapted from writings of Alice Bailey. Back to Alice Bailey. Now, what I found interesting, and what I found a very, very key connection, and which took Mariah and I to this very interesting chart, was I found that I could relate Alice Bailey to uh, Crom um, Crom Alistair Cromley. Who's the guy that opened the portal? Jay, do you know? Used to bring in the spiritual cast circle. Usually God. I wish I could. I really don't like that. Crowley. Yeah, Crowley, GA. Thank you. How Alice Bailey and Crowley are in the same time frame, and I don't know if I can. You'll have to look on the last part 2 of Mariah and I for the QHHT that we've been working on together. In that video, there's a chart that we brought up that we were able to link Alice Bailey and Crowley and the New Age and a couple of other things too, and they all are involved with the New World Order, the Palladians, and a couple of other things too. So we just found some very, very interesting connections. And the other thing that I found, and which I was hoping that I could stumble upon, because that's what I did the last time, is I stumbled upon it, was I found a link between, okay, let me go ahead and finish that one. I found a link between the Lucis Trust, Jasara Nasara, New World Order, New Age, the Palladians, the whole list of things. I found Bill Gates connected to almost all of those things in some way. And I think how I was looking it up was just researching like top 10 donors for Lucis Trust. Okay, let me pull this up and I'll show you what I mean. Okay, and this is now, mind you, I didn't put Bill Gates. This is okay. This is what I stumbled on. This is how I found it. That's what I put in the search. I put in who are the top 10 donors for the Lucious Trust because I was curious. Follow the money. Where's the money? Who's donating? Where's the money coming from? And this looks with the first thing that pops up. Do you guys see that? Yes, you guys see that, right? Let's move that over here. So I just thought that is like, what the hell is going on? So now remember the top 10 donors for the Lucious Trust. Now watch as we go down how yeah, it's the charities. That's the biggest thing, that is where, and even like Wikipedia is also a money laundering. You should see the donations platform that they have for Wikipedia. It's quite lucrative. And you should see who the top donors are for Wikipedia. Clinton Foundation. Let's see. Let's see. Hi, Shelley. How's it going? Welcome. Yeah, no kidding. And to be honest with you, Shelley, I'm just kind of touching on a little tiny bit from what I found. It's across Every single, I would say that anytime I see a name that is all like integrity or professional or impress or anything like that, man, my red flags just go, and the light goes off and the dinger goes off, and it's like, whoa, what's going on here? And I really start paying attention to the fruit, because that is so out there. And if people can't realize where to look for the fruit too, that's like huge. But let's move on and let's move down here and look at some of this stuff. Now remember, top 10 donors for Lucis Trust. Okay. World Trust, that's Jasara Nasara. Okay. Lucis Trust is directly tied to Jasara Nasara. Directly tied. Okay. That's where the money's based on, is the Lucis Trust and the St. Germain's Trust. They're all connected. Okay. So let's move down. Lucious, Lucifer Trust, which, if you didn't come in right in the beginning, I said the Lucis Trust used to be called the Lucifer Trust. Okay, exposing Satanism and witchcraft, and these are things that you can research yourselves. On a. I'm not going to go into details on a lot of these things. I just want to show you kind of how the researching went when we were just searching for one particular topic, and how it opened up these freaking rabbit holes to 10 other things that we went, what the fuck? What? So yeah, hardcore. And the biggest score for me was finding that Bill Gates was at the top of the list for donors for all of these things that I'm coming across. So I have a feeling that when we get to digging deeper into the churches and seeing that Bill Gates and George Soros, now see, that's the connection next that I want to find, is how those two, because I know that they are like two magnets, okay? They, with the polarities opposite, so they're never going to connect. Okay, so they've had all these things that are in between. So what I'm trying to figure out is what it is with those two that we can find a connection on. That's what I've been kind of looking for. So keep that in mind too. Okay, so let's look here. Funds for NGOs. And another a thing to keep an eye on, and red flag possibilities, are all these nonprofits, because that's a key too. I think that that's the key where they've taken. I think what's happened. Okay, think about this. And I've been researching some of this stuff since 2015, across the board since then. But my knowledge of things of the past in regards to a time span of from right after my son was born, so 1998. Let's take a span of, and let me give you an idea of where my mind is always going back to. And I know why now, because it's so crucial. The time frame of 1998 to, I would say, 2003 or 2005, but right in that crunch time. Okay, let me tell you some things that happened. First of all, in 1997, and these are things that I know about just because I was just watching things at the time of what was going on. In 1997, although I don't agree with, I'm not sure about where I stand on how I feel about Mother Teresa, but Mother Teresa died in 1997. Princess Diana died in 1997. And my pastor, which was an evangelistic pastor, known worldwide, also died in 1997, John Wimber, which is a controversial subject right now with the vineyard, even though he died before the controversy had started, but then things, after he died in 19, okay, man, this makes so much more sense now. There was a shift, and you can look at the year 2000, that was a biblical year. It was also on the Mayan calendar. It was also the Y2K. It was also just a lot of stuff going on. Okay, but in 1998 is when the Clintons came into power. And I'm sorry I'm closing my eyes, but it's making me look at the timeline, and that's how I see it, is in my mind. But when I look at when the Clintons came into power, and knowing who the Clintons are and the witchcraft that they possess, under the guise of even how they were married by a witch doctor. Now, this is all common information, folks. I mean, you can research. I mean, these are just things that I've researched. It's just common knowledge. It's not like, oh, wow, okay. So anyway, so I know that when they came into power and that particular year, and also keep in mind that the year that Bill Clinton came into power was the year that, now hold on to your seats, was the year that the school shootings began, killing people. Okay, now prior to that, there had been instances, okay, occurrences, but there weren't deaths, there weren't, maimings, there weren't things like that, and it wasn't like multiple people, it was like 3 or less. Okay, so I'm assuming most of it was domestic violence stuff, right? Okay, prior to that. But as soon as Bill Clinton came in office, it changed from single digits to double digits. And by the end of that year and into the next year, it was triple digits. And then by the following year after that, it was in the thousands. So that is something to really think about. But what I think that they did is, when they came in that particular year, was if you look it up biblically, for number wise and occult wise, that year was a year of a transfer of power. And I believe that that is when the transfer of power came for Satan, the enemy, evil, darkness, the bad guys, the wicked ones, the evil ones, the names that shall not be said, things like that. Okay, all of that. I mean, it was all starting obviously before then, but that is when they did. Okay, when was. Okay, 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 crap. When. Okay. When was 9/11? This is going to blow you guys' mind. When was 9/11? And then you'll understand what I'm talking about. Was that 2000 or 2001? It's 2001, right? Right? 2001? Somebody? Let me see. Maybe somebody on. No, nobody's on YouTube. But me. So anyways, okay, so get this. So, sacrifice. Think about this for a minute. The word sacrifice, what it means biblically, okay, is a blood. It basically, it can be praises and worship and things like that. But initially, it was set on blood, okay, for atonement. Blood for atonement. A sacrifice of an animal to cleanse, so that we could come before God sinless, blemishless, pure. Okay, so when that is the sacrifice, okay, so if they planned the tower thing, which we know they did, that, and people died, which we know they did, Okay, now that is a mass sacrifice, folks. Hello, wake up. Hello. That's how the enemy works. They are using blood sacrifices against us. They're using our kids. They're using our animals. People need to wake up to what is really going on. This world is it's coming to an end. But the more that we wake up and the more that we know that they're in power and they're in control and how we can fight against them, that's the key. That's where I'm going with all this information, is because I am going to bring the key and the information to you guys on how to fight back and how to be an effective tool of God to do the things that we were called to do to fight back against this insanity. Because they're basically, the enemy is using all of our tools against us. And we're letting them. And I'm not kidding. They are sacrificing, using blood sacrifices. Now that 2000, that makes all the sense in the world for them to take power. Okay? So if they were in power 1998 to whatever, and then Bush was in power, whatever. I don't even freaking care, don't know. I just know he was in power, Clinton was in power, and then Bush was in power, and then they did the towers thing. That was a total sacrifice, a sacrificial scene. They did the storybook with the goat and all that other crap. Look it up. It's all common knowledge now. 2001. Thanks, Shelley. But I just believe that was all initiated into a transfer of power from one to the other. And that's what's happened in 2020, last year, was I think they wanted to retain the power, which they did in a sense, but they lost it in another way. And they tried to gain it through fear with, you know what. So please keep things in mind that words matter. They're using words against us. If you see anything popping up on a new bill or a new mandate, anything that's new coming up, especially on the left, coming from the left, even the right too. I'm sorry, but the right too. And you know what? I'm not even going to say I'm a conservative anymore, because they can fuck off, and so can the liberals. Both sides can fuck off, because both of them are corrupt, and they both need to be disseminated to the ground. And we all need a hammer. Maybe a big hammer. Yeah, demolition hammers. Or tear it all down. So now we know they did a spell to create their power. But what's happened with the movement, the letter movement, is it opened the eyes of believers to what was really going on. And now, as we come out of that, from behind that veil, and realize where we are, now we're coming into the second veil, as far as, people that are walking the walk with God and wanting to make things right and be a force of nature, as Acts Truth says. Give him a plug real quick. You want some raw comedy and truth? Check out Acts Truth on DLive, Foxhole, Cloud Hub. I think he's on Cloud Hub. I'm not sure he's on Cloud Hub yet. Twitch. He tries to be on Facebook and YouTube, but they keep kicking him off. Just like Greg Harvey. And Miss Rita, if you're not following Greg Harvey 117 on DLive, that's a keeper. We might be doing a show together soon. So you might want to check him out. You would be very welcomed there, Miss Rita. You would be very, very welcomed there, Miss Rita. Please come. Please. Come. I'm actually, if you have a channel and you want, I'm involved with a big group of people that are trying to promote each other. If you have a channel that you need promotion, then send me my email. Let me send that to you real quick here. You can send me an email here and send me like a card, like a graphic card with, your picture or whatever your graphics. And if you need, I kind of do that stuff too. If you need help with that, I do commercials and trailers too. So, but yeah, I would like to add you to the group. I'm making a trailer of creators. So that will be I'll be showing that on my shows moving forward. I'm trying to get that done next week to start promoting next week. And thank you, GA, for putting that in there. But yeah, back to the sacrifices and knowing that the people that are in power are basically doing seances and spell casting, and they're doing their little Ouija boards, and they're doing their tarot cards behind the scenes at every function. Anything like, take for example, I know some of you have seen that band musical thing that just happened over the past few days where all those young people died, like 8 young people died from the low frequency bullshit stuff. I don't know if any of you have really seen any of the information, but if you notice the entrance to that event, and keep in mind, please keep this in the back burner, that those types of entrances are all Baal worshiping entrances. Anything that you're entering into a mouth of something, of a face, any type of a face that you're entering into the mouth, that's a representation of Baal. I don't care how cute it is or how fun-loving, child-loving, bump and jump bullshit. They're using everything against us, folks. I'm telling you, they're using it all against us. And when you rent one of those bump and jump things and the mouth is a person with a mouth, you need to really think about that and who you're supporting and letting your child play in and be touching, because they're influenced. And let me also tell you, witches exist, and they're in the churches, and they're making spells. And you know what they're doing? This is kind of some off the beat stuff. I just kind of bump into things when I'm researching this kind of stuff. I go in and look at this stuff, and it's like I'll bump into other stuff, but it's like they're using our animals against us. When you pray over your home, like your hedge of protection around your home and your people in your house, you need to pray over your pets as well, because they leave that sometimes outside of the perimeters of your property line. You should be praying to your property lines too. 4 corners, tippy top of the house to the bottom of the foundation. That hedge of protection. Okay? But what they're doing is they're putting spells on our animals, and they're bringing them into our homes to spy on us. And another thing, research, and I get off on a few things to keep people in mind that there are so many things going on that are questionable, like fucking mirrors. So there's been some things that have been brought to light. Miss Rita, you might be able to relate to this. Inductive reasoning, and I know you guys are going to hear that a lot from me, okay? Inductive reasoning goes beyond just regular reasoning. Basically, it's taking everything that you're made up of, your whole life experience, from the time you were born until this moment in time, and even how your thinking pattern goes into the future and how you even think about the future is involved here. It's called inductive reasoning. Okay? Inductive reasoning. Look it up. It's very, very interesting. What you do is you pull in all your experience, all your knowledge, all your life happenings, all your memories, everything. You bring it in, and it all plays a part in what you're trying to understand in the moment. And to have a life like I've had, and to be able to get to a point of being able to say that's inductive reasoning instead of I'm going out of my mind, is a step from insanity to sanity in the Word of God, because going down that path, had I continued down that path, it would have made me insane, because I didn't have anything structural to back it up with to be able to find the information to get the truth. Okay? So, being how that's happened, that's how puzzle pieces just fly in together when I just stumble across things like the Bill Gates thing. And the fact that it comes up without me even trying half the time, I'll put in those simple words. But because there's ties, and this is something about the researching and how to get around the algorithms that I have always found so very interesting, because I found everything that's coming out. Okay, let me give you guys, and Miss Rita, you might be able to remember this. Back in February and March of last year, when we were talking on Access Channel about all the stuff from the CDC website, and I was telling you guys in the chat room, I went into the CDC website. These are the things that I found. These are the things that I saw. This is what it said. This is what I saw about Fuchi. This is what I saw about the HCQ. And I said everything then about it. And now, of course, now you got to really dig hard. It was hard enough to find it when I went in to look for it. But now they're talking about all of that. And I'm like, you guys, I tried to show you that shit back in February and fucking March, and nobody was wanting to talk to me about it. And I just find it so interesting, because I'm like, I was telling everybody, oh, that's bullshit. Oh, you're not, and not just from Axel, I'm talking about in general from everybody. And that's basically how I lost the rest of all my friends. Was the liberal friends that, didn't care that I was a conservative up until that point. But then, because I was a loser and getting my grubby contaminated hands all over town, I lost the rest of them last year. Good riddance. You're not part of what's coming, is the way I look at it. So basically, all these people that are still brainwashed, yes, we still want them to wake up, and yes, we still want them to come to God, but some of them are never going to wake up. But the one thing that I do, I feel sorry for them, because they're going to be footstools. They're going to be hiding. They're going to be what they've done to us, basically, by pushing our faces in the dirt and the mud for all these years. That's what they're going to become, hiding and stuff like that. Hey, RGE. Yes, it's going well. We're talking about the Lucis Trust, Jasara Nasara, how Bill Gates is... Oh, let's go back and look at that, you guys. Let me bring that up again. Add to the stream. Let's go look at that again. Okay, let's go look at the 20 foundations and trusts that fund this. And this is the other thing. Okay, remember, this is what I put in the research. Top 10 donors for Lucis Trust. I didn't put in LGBTQ programs. I didn't put in 20 foundations. Okay, so these are the things that, even though they just throw shit up most of the time, sometimes, there's still something in there that they've been able to pull out to relate to the topic that I put in the search bar. Okay, so let's go in and look at this one. 20 foundations and trusts that fund LGBTQ programs. Corporate social responsibility. CSR donors for bigger impact. Let's see, let's move down here. Funding for international, and that's another funny thing too. The fact that they're trying to collect monies on an international level for LGBTQ programs, when in fact they almost don't exist in other countries. And if they do, it's because of Trump and what Trump has done since 2015. Because they don't want to talk about that either, how he's been the only one that's actually been in favor of the LGBTQ community and trying to bring rights as far as civil rights across the globe. Because they have all the rights here. I don't know what they're all crying about. But look at this. In 2012, U.S. foundations alone provided over $120 million in support of issues worldwide. Issues worldwide on the LGBTQ is in favor of Islam. I don't know how else to tell people that when they send money into the LGBTQ, it's almost like they don't understand that it's going to everything but LGBTQ. It's pretty amazing to me, actually. 20, and this is another thing. I tried to call and find out who the owner of one of the dispensaries was here in town, because we've got some corruption going on here in our town that I live in. Hardcore corruption. We've got 2 dispensaries that they take $5 off of each sale of $100, and then for every $100 after that, it's $5. So each 100, it's $5. So each person would be $5, and then it'd go up if it was more than 100 for 5. 5 for each 100. So on top of regular taxes, our city is getting $5 on each person that walks into the dispensaries in each place, right off the top. Yet there is nothing being done in this town. There's no schools being built. There's nothing being fixed. There's nothing being improved. There's no sidewalks. There's no roads. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing. The only thing that we have here is a farming community and a population of, I don't know, I'm not even going to go there. But there's some serious shit going on here with whoever's putting this money in their pockets, because it isn't going to the town at all. Nothing. Zero. And if it is, then they're paying politicians for something. Maybe water rights. I don't know. It's a possibility. It's kind of crucial at this point. Okay, but getting back to this stuff. Okay, I don't want to look at that because it's just going down stuff I don't even want to talk about right now. Okay, back on the Lucis Trust, formerly known as Lucifer Publishing, which she was publishing her books and her agenda. Bailey and for her husband Foster Bailey to act as fiduciary trust for the publishing of Mrs. Bailey's 24 books. Basically, esoteric philosophy, which they'll go, these people will follow her esoteric philosophy, but they'll like crush, Jesus and the Bible. It's like, yeah, well, you know what? You're entitled to your opinion, but stop talking bullshit about mine when I can back my shit up and you can't. It gets to you and it stops. Then everything before that is all Satan and Luciferian crap. Yeah, lady. Okay, whatever. Light bearer. Here we go. In the early 1920s, the Lucious Publishing Company changed their name from Lucifer Publishing Company. The Latin lucerne, fair, translates to light bearer, and Lucius means of light. The Lucis Trust has always maintained the same name. It has headquarters in New York City, London, and Geneva. Interesting. Geneva. The World, here we are again. The World Goodwill Group, founded in 1932, has been recognized by the United Nations as a non-governmental organization. That's the NGO. Okay. And that's going to be interesting because those are all going to tie to governments. That's so funny because anytime they say non, you know it is. And if it's the United Nations, put in front of it. Don't forget that. New spirituality for awake new world order. There we go. Okay, let's get out of here. I'm done with that stuff. Let's see, fault's done. 10 seed. I think we kind of looked through a lot of this stuff. Okay, I'm done with that one. I'm not going to do Saint Germain's. Let's look at. There was something. Let me think. Let's look at. Let me bring you in here. Artificial intelligence community. Okay, I'll see you in a few because I'm going to probably finish up here in just a little bit. Okay, let's artificial intelligence communities and the United Nations. Let's look at that. Let's see what we come up with. Oh, doesn't look good. It does not look good. Okay, the militarization of artificial intelligence. Okay, here we are again. To improve the health and well-being of individuals. These are like, they're talking med beds, and I know Trump talked about some of this stuff too, but I believe that there is a certain extent, I'm just not even sure at this point anymore about anything, to be honest with you. Anyways, artificial intelligence has the potential to improve the health and well-being of individuals, communities, and states and help meet the United Nations Sustainable Developmental Goals. Here we are again. They're always about their sustainability, their sustainability. They're always worried about that. They want to always be in control. However, certain uses of AI could also undermine international peace and security by raising concerns about safety and security of the technology. Yeah, because we'll hack it all. Accelerating the pace of armed conflicts or losing human control over the means of war. And that's where it all comes down to, because people need to realize that if they're talking about it, using it for military means, then they want to use it against us. Oh, we got some names here I need to write down. Samely Lenoda Stimson. And those are pay attention to corporate names, people. Super important. A lot of the worship groups that we listen to are directly connected to sending checks every month to Planned Parenthood. So be careful who you listen to, who you sing songs in agreement with. Because if you start paying attention to the lyrics, you'll see that they're not scriptural. Most of them at all. And there's a lot of false prophets out there. Okay, so, and these are things to keep in mind too when we're talking about major places here. Like in 2019, the United Nations Office for Disarmament Affairs. That means they want to disarm everybody, take our guns away, everybody, from everything so they can be in control. The Stanley Center and the Stimson Center partnered in a workshop and series of papers to facilitate a multi-task holder discussion among experts from member states, industry, academia, and research institutions with the aim of building understanding about the peace and security implications of AI. This publication captures that conversation and shares assessments of the topic from US, Chinese, and Russian perspectives. Now, don't you find that interesting? That those are all the three that have been in the limelight since Trump's been in office, since 2015. And this is 2019 here. Okay? And I do know that Russia plays a key role, and China is going down. I do know that. But I believe that the US, Russia, and Saudi Arabia are the new superpowers. Get ready for it. And I have a whole stem of truth bombs when it comes to Saudi Arabia being a blood ally, and I'll go into that more later at another time. We're talking serious shit, and we talked about the sacrificial of the blood. It's everything's based on the blood. There is so much going on that's based on the blood in so many different ways that people do not realize. Like, I did a little quick TikTok. There's a place behind my house up on the Book Cliffs, and I know it's a sacrificial site because of all the blood stains on the outcrop. And it's as far as I'm concerned, what it looks like to me is a Nephilim, remains of the Nephilim bones, and they're doing the sacrifices on that thing. So, and that's where a lot. And if you look at the Satan's calendar and the moon calendars for the Lucis Trust thing, you'll see how their timelines line up. They don't necessarily do the same things, but they still meet on the same times. And that's another thing, is like when you go and you look at the Satan calendar, you'll see that each person that is in that movement has to make 14 sacrifices a year to stay current with the Satan calendar. And it's and that's not even counting the sex stuff. That's blood. I was counting death or blood. That's what I was the sacrifice for, death or blood, and it's either child or human or animal. Okay, so keep that in mind. There's so much blood stuff going on, and think about the corruptness, the corruption of the blood. They're trying to corrupt our blood when that's our life force. God made that for us. Our blood is God given, and they're trying to corrupt that. Okay, keep things in mind. There's everything, and I've said this in my last video, they're in hives underground praying their little witchy poo prayers against us. Okay? And I'm not shitting you guys one bit. They are using all of our tools against us in evil ways. They're using against us. They're using alchemy. They're using spells. They're using witchcraft. Anybody that's trying to use domination, intimidation, or manipulation on you is using witchcraft or trying to use witchcraft on you. And once you start realizing that and start really listening to how people are talking to you, you'll start realizing that it's most of the majority of people that you talk to are trying to use witchcraft on you. And I'm not shitting you one bit, y'all. I'm not shitting you. I am hardcore. That's why it's so hard for me to be in public. Because it's like the lies and the manifestation of the demons and just the abject bullshit that you encounter with all the words being used against everybody all the time and everything in every situation and every place you go. It's overwhelming. Overwhelming. Okay, that's a good place to start. GA, thank you for that. I'll let my roommate know about that too, because we were wanting to bring, because we know that we can bring in Soros, and all these other things over here, and we can bring in Bill and all these things over here, but trying to get them all in, and now looking at the Clintons and seeing how pathetic they are and what peons and pawns they are, it makes me laugh, because they were trying to set up those loser pawns in positions of puppetry, that it's just ludicrous now, because that was just, Hillary is completely gone. I mean, she has none of her faculties left whatsoever. You can only eat human flesh for so long before it's going to, rot your brain. Which is, I think, what happened with Mad Cow, is they were probably feeding cow to cow. Yeah. Huh? Dumb people. And this is yeah. And we're getting fed shit in the stuff that we buy at the store, in the boxed products. And I can tell you guys that if you started looking at every label, you will see that they have removed flour, because gluten and all that bullshit, which is bullshit. That's a whole game too. They've removed flour and replaced it with soy flour. So even if you have 100% beef product that you think you're purchasing, guess what's in it? Not shitting you. Start looking at your labels. It's in everything. I'm not kidding you. And also, the food that we get here in America is not the same stuff that other countries get. So say we get roast beef hash in the can from here, supposedly, whatever. But we get the crap blend of cheap ass products in it, versus the other country gets the supreme the full 100% beef without the filler stuff. They're getting what they know they're buying, whereas we thought that's what we used to buy. But if you look now, it's not like that anymore. Like that hash, that roast beef hash, has soy flour in it. And everything else that has a meat product or anything like that, it has soy flour in it. And the men wonder why they're so effeminate and they're growing boobs. Hello? Stop eating fucking soy, dumbasses. If you think you have boobs, you should look at your soy content and start paying attention to the product labels. Because more than likely, your favorite drink or your favorite snack foods that you eat on a regular basis are full of soy flour or soy byproduct or soy filler or soy whatever. It's bad, you guys. They are trying to kill us. And the food pyramid, you can tell the food pyramid to take a flying fucking leap. All it's doing is making people fat. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Being poor is one thing. But I have, because what I'm tired of is, I'm tired of just being whatever. Okay. I'm tired of eating. I'm tired of having to stick to a plan that tells me that I'm supposed to be eating all day long when I don't want to eat all day long. I'm happy with one meal. I'm happy with one meal and a few snacks. I am perfectly fine. And I have lost almost 20 pounds since actually in the past 4 months. Not even a year. In the past 4 months. Just because I've changed that one thing. I've taken 2 meals out of my diet. I probably took out 4 snacks too. 2 meals and 4 snacks. Possibly. Yeah, I was eating way too much. But I'll tell you what, now I've got to like work out and get rid of all the flab left over. Because now I'm like swimming in my clothes. I can't wear anything. It's going to be funny looking for a job. But yeah, so they're trying to kill us, and I'm trying not to eat a bunch of crap. I'm trying to eat more salad and get this. I buy this raspberry flavored syrup dressing, which I totally thought it was. Okay, it's more like a vinaigrette, but it had like 35 calories, 2 tablespoons, and I'm sitting there looking at it. This stuff is so freaking good. Like I'll have like fruit in my salad too, like blueberries and raspberries and stuff like that, and then I'll add the fruit. It's like syrup, but it's not. It's like the vinaigrette. Man, I can actually load a little bit up on it and add some cheese or anything else. But talk about satisfying and knowing that I'm getting something super sweet that satisfies my sweet tooth, but it's not killing me with calories. And then I look at I look at the ingredients on it, and it just blessed me because it's like sugar, it's not high fructose, it's not, all the crap, and it's just all good stuff. And I'm sitting there, I found a really great, the Lighthouse refrigerated raspberry. Oh, it's so good. And add blue cheese crumbles. Oh, divine. Oh, that is my favorite thing right now, is salad with blue cheese crumbles with fruit like blueberries and raspberries and that dressing. Yeah, that's what I dream about. Yeah, so interesting. But getting back to this, but yeah, look at what you guys are eating. It's super, super crazy. Yeah, and they wonder why they can't sell our stuff overseas. I'll be glad when somebody comes up, and it might be me, but I want to start like a little offset thing where people can add, where it's just all American made stuff, in one kiosk. Like I'll make one kiosk screen and everybody can come and put their crap on the thing. Crap on the kiosk. Crap on the kiosk. We can name it that. Crap on the kiosk. Let's give it up for crap on the kiosk. Yay! Shall we do just need a little more cowbell? That's always a good one. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, so I think I'm going to end with that, you guys. And tomorrow is, let me see. Tomorrow is, let's see, Thespian Thursday. We can talk about gay stuff. Yeah, and that'll be interesting. I know Axe likes to talk about that stuff, but I like to talk about it on the side of the people that are flying from the left to the right. Not necessarily to the right. I think everybody's running to the middle now. I think that's kind of where we're at. Next week, this time, or Wednesday or Thursday, it'll be me and Mariah again, and we'll be talking more about the AI and the New World Order agenda a little bit. We'll probably be going over a little bit more on the Jassara Nasara, the Pleiadians, New World Order. We'll be going into that. And bringing in things to relate everybody and get everybody connected, get everything connected. Let's see, is that just yeah. So it'll be part 3 next week, Wednesday or Thursday, for that one. But I wanted to kind of stick with a little bit of the topic that we were covering tonight, so we could keep it on the regular in case anybody was popping in to see if we were doing it tonight. But we still were able to cover a few things, so I'm glad about that. But thanks, everybody, for joining me and for commenting in the chat. I really like that because it kind of keeps me in the now. for knowing where you guys are with your questions and stuff too. So I encourage questions anytime. Thanks so much, GA, for the ice creams. And everybody else, if anybody else is still here hanging out, I'll be back tomorrow night. I'm streaming Monday through Friday now, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And I still have I'm not sure if you're still listening, Miss Rita, but I still have my kinship that I'm starting. I was going to do that on Sundays, but there's a lot of weird things going on right now, and I'm trying to do this, and I need to get a job, but I'd rather do this. So I'm trying to get a balance. I'm trying to get a part-time job somewhere here close to home, and it's so small, it's kind of hard, and I don't have a car. So I'm kind of in a little bit of stress right now, just trying to meet bills and stuff. But I'm going to continue on Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So join me. And I'm going to try I need to get some comedy in here. I'm kind of in a dilemma because of how I'm going to bring that into things biblically. Because I don't want to cross any barriers with God on some things. But stay tuned. There'll be lots of new stuff coming up. And thanks for joining me, and I'll be back tomorrow night. Have a great evening, y'all. Let me see if I can go out at least on a little bit of something that we can play. Well, here, let's just do. Let me see if I can pull this up really quick. I just did a trailer. I just did my trailer. I guess I could just do that. Let's just do that. I'll pull up YouTube and jack everything up. Just kidding. And I'll go to my channel. Go to my channel and stop it before it starts. Oh, good. Good. It didn't start. Okay, let me pull that one up. Oh, no, that's. No. That's trying to do right now. That's not what I want to do. Okay, here we go. Stop. Okay. So here's my new trailer, and I still want to tweak it. It's not exactly what I want, but it's close to it. So thank you so much, everybody, and I'll let this run out, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let me see, make sure it's on the screen. Okay, here we go.